Now, this is really where it depends. It depends on the stock that you're selling. It depends on the volatility of the underlying stock. But the one thing I will say is that when you are selling an option that has a 60% chance of expiring worthless, right? Yes, you can collect in 1 month $1.50 if you sold 1 month option. However, if you sold a weekly option, you're going to collect about 50 cents, right? So about a quarter, I'm sorry, a third of what you collect on the full 1 month, which means that if you're able to get 4 months of 4 weeks of 1 week options and you're going to collect 50 cents each, that means you're going to end up with roughly $2 at the end of your 1 month, which is obviously higher than the $1.50 that you're earning right now if you were to sell a 1 month option. So that just gives you a sense for the magnitude of how much potential additional income you could potentially generate selling weekly options versus monthly options. A lot of you prefer selling weekly options, but remember, you only have a 60% chance of owning the stock if you were to sell one monthly option. If you were to sell a weekly option with a 60% chance of owning the stock, then there's a higher likelihood that you might get called away or the stock might be put to you in week two, right? So which means that if the stock gets put to you in week two, then you're not earning $1.50, you're only earning $1 in terms of your income, right? And the longer that you go on selling weekly options for, the lower your chances of actually owning the stock. At this, the lower the chances that you're going to be able to sell 4 weekly options to actually collect enough income to outweigh selling one monthly option, because you have to be able to successfully have 4 put options expire worthless in order to actually collect the $2. If it gets called away in the second week, then you've only collected $1. So on absolute terms, you've gotten a smaller discount, you have higher transaction costs, and you're going to underperform selling that monthly option. Now, I'm not here to necessarily tell you which one's best. I'm here to give you the information so that you can make the decision for yourself as to what makes sense for your portfolio. But the goal here is to help you understand, if you were to sell weekly options, just how much additional income are you going to get? And is that additional income worth the higher transaction costs, the lower probability of actually making it through all 4 weeks in your actual strategy? Okay, so once we get to selling that cash secured put, there's really two things that could potentially happen. The stock can either stay above the strike price that you've sold it for, or it ends up below the strike price that you sold it for on expiration. So let's say the stock closes above $23 by expiration. This is really where the put option that you've collected will expire worthless, which means that you're going to keep the $1.50, right? And this is one of the benefits of selling that monthly option, because you know exactly how much potential income you can generate throughout that whole month. So let's say it's $1.50, that's 6.7% of the stock's value that you're collecting in the form of yield for the cash that you've set aside. So you're setting aside $2,300 to sell the put. You're going to collect $150 for selling that put, and that $150 will effectively be cash that you can buy something with or simply hold on to as yield. You may miss out on the upside, and you have the ability to sell another put after this put option expires. So the goal here is that even if the stock doesn't decline to the purchase price that you want to buy the stock at the very least, if the stock stays put or moves a little bit higher, you have quite a bit of yield to show for the cash that you've put aside to own that particular stock. If you had just put 100 to buy 100 shares of the stock at $23 using a limit order, you're not going to get paid any income, and you're just not going to get paid any income, and you're not going to be able to generate that income stream from the potential stock acquisition.